Astute observation, friends. As you're tuning in to tonight's episode, I feel like I'm sitting here kind of looking like Forrest Gump after he runs across America a couple of times. Uh, yeah, interesting go there. Sorry, I realized that just as I'm looking into the camera tonight, that's kind of the Shaggy Doo look I've got going on the beard tonight. But friends, no, we got a lot of Oilers news today. My observations about myself aside, yeah, the Oilers had, despite not having a very busy news day, there's still three very big items I would like to get to when it comes to the business of getting to the trade deadline, the business of what has happened over the past week, and the business of the development of young prospects. Friends, this is Dolynny TV. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning if you're tuning in late to this episode, or hey, maybe you're tuning into this episode in the middle of the night here in Alberta. But over in Finland, Sweden, Germany, it might be 7 in the morning. So, hey, good morning to you. Thanks for being aboard. Friends, to the housekeeping notes, if you're enjoying the video at any time and you want to leave me some very easy feedback, you can leave a like on the video. And secondary, too, if you're new to the channel, I'd love to have you aboard. If you'd consider hitting that subscribe button, hey, we've amassed almost 10,400 crazy Oilers fans, NHL fans, whatever you want to call us here on the channel. I'd love to have you aboard for live streams, future videos. Hey, just to check out that community tab here on Dolynny TV. It's all there by hitting that subscribe button, which is free, by the way. All right. And maybe one day, too, you'll see when beard comes off that I'm not quite as mangy looking as I feel like I look today with how it's fluffed out during the course of the day. Enough about my beard, Oilers fans. Zach Hyman named the first star of the NHL for the past week. He had something like 9 points in 4 games or something like that. If I don't forget what happened on Saturday, despite being up till midnight, Zach Hyman had a 4-point night on a 4-goal effort from the Oilers to secure us a 4-2 victory over top of the Vancouver Canucks in a game that, despite what it meant to the Canucks, we still needed to win. And thanks to winning that game, oh, by the way, we're on a 6-game winning streak. And yes, when you've got the NHL's first star of the week on your team, that may sometimes, more than likely, be the case for your team as they go through the span of that week. Now, we've had Connor McDavid be the star of the week some weeks, and the Oilers some weeks have lost all the games, I think, over the course of his career, despite him being the first star. So maybe my rule of thumb not necessarily as rule of thumb as it seems. Anyway, as we keep going here as well, Zach Hyman, we talked about him yesterday. I'll link the video about Zach Hyman having a career best season in the comments section below. I could talk about him tonight, but I've already wasted about 9.5 minutes of some of your time listening to me rant about how great Zach Hyman's been. And if you want to listen to that and have me waste your time about Zach Hyman, go right ahead. It's in the comments section below, as long as I remember to do it. Now, somebody call me out if I don't. The other news, too, I'm not sure where I saw this, but I know it has been stated as fact somewhere out there in Oilers land at this point, is it would appear, I think it was the Edmonton Journal, I can't quite find it, and obviously I'm up against the clock here tonight to get a video done, but it appears as such in the Oilers chambers that Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg will indeed be untouchables this year at the trade deadline. Now, obviously, Tyson, you're getting back to talking about trades. Well, hey, we took a couple days break, and here we go. We've got some more news here that I can just kind of pass along, all right? It's just, as far as I can read from everything I've seen online, expect the Oilers to maintain the services of Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg to really no one's shock. I think, yeah, if Chychrun would have been a little bit more of a realistic package for the Oilers, yes, you could have expected Broberg to go in return for Chychrun, but I think since the Oilers are much more focused elsewhere, I think it becomes one of those things where why wouldn't you just keep your stud up and coming defenseman? And obviously paired up there with Evan Bouchard so far over the past few games, he's been looking not too bad. And that is to say what everyone would complain about Evan Bouchard's game over the past 3-4 weeks. So that's kind of the preview we get to, right? The Oilers are maintaining Holloway and Broberg unless something incredible happens at the trade deadline, right? I mean, subject to change as always, but for the Oilers, right, Dylan Holloway's come a long way since the start of the season. I think Holloway's big thing was He needed big minutes to be engaged in the game, and now suddenly Dylan Holloway has found the player he is at the NHL level that he's been throughout every single step of his career so far, right? This medium-sized power forward guy that bumps the puck free and has the skill to do something with it. And now, right, he's got a good shot as well. And now he's starting to play that role in the limited minutes he's getting. And you're starting to see, instead of having to elevate him to big minutes, you're starting to see him excel in a role where it doesn't matter who he's playing with, he's coming through with some kind of positive result for the Oilers. And I mean, here's the thing, polar opposites, we love when Holloway does it because he's a million less player, but yes, Puljujarvi does exactly what Holloway does some games in the same ice time, and we're hating on Puljujarvi. So I know circumstances are much different, and the trajectory of the upswing of Dylan Holloway's career following this year and potentially into the postseason is much more than the current trajectory of Jesse Puljujarvi, who again today we don't have much of an update on, but it is where it is, right? As you're comparing apples to oranges, yet they're doing the same thing. And that is where I now transition again to the rest of the video here, right? I said I had 3 news pieces that I wanted to get to. Zach Hyman, first star. You have obviously 2, the Dylan Holloway, Philip Broberg news that I just thought I'd kind of pass along in case you had heard something different. If you've heard something different, please throw it in the comments section below and give me your thoughts, because at the end of the day, I am not a licensed guy that's working for Sportsnet or working for 630 Ched. I'm just a guy doing it out of my basement, and at the end of the day is, you know what, I am bound to get some stuff wrong. So if you've heard elsewhere and you can kind of cite where it came from, I'd love to hear it from you. I know I don't respond to many comments anymore, but I do always check what you have to say, and if you listen to enough videos over the course of a week, you would understand what's in the comments bleeds into what's in the video content later that week. The end of the stuff, and this is where I've heard it enough from a lot of folks. They're tired of the baseless trade rumors. They're tired of everything there. But unfortunately, it is a part of the news cycle for us Oilers fans, is when you're looking to get better, you have to talk about how you get better. And right now, as it currently stands, Frank Seravalli had the trade price for Columbus Blue Jackets defenseman Vladislav Gavrikov, as he has heard the reported asking price. This is from Frank Seravalli. This is not me making it up. Please, again, if you're thinking I'm just making stuff up, this is me reporting what Frank Seravalli is reporting on Twitter today. We've heard the reported asking price for Columbus Blue Jackets defenseman Vladislav Gavrikov starts with return from 2021 for David Savard. That given what we saw from Savard and then Ben Sherratt last year, is that too much? And I believe that is, if you look at the Gavrikov price, it is a first rounder and a third and a fourth. That is what the price for Savard was back in 2021. A first, a third, and a fourth. Now, obviously, from a team like the Oilers, that first is not going to be a lottery pick unless something drastic happens here in response to a 6-game winning streak in the middle of January, right before the All-Star break, which could potentially be 8 games if the Oilers take care of business the rest of the way. So when you think about it, a first, a third, and a fourth. Now I look at this logically from an Oilers perspective, and we go back to that video I did about 3 trade destinations for Jesse Puljujarvi. Oh my goodness, here you go again with this. Well, again, friends, it's the cycle we live in, is that every day the same ideas are going to get brought up until these players or these ideas are no longer feasible, right? As long as everything's on the table, everything has to be talked about on a recurring cycle. And that's kind of where we find it. A first round pick, I know it seems as though Ken Holland is probably not likely to move his first round pick, but he probably should, based on the needs of the Oilers if they want certain things for the playoffs. And let me tell you, Gavrikov on the back end, on the left side for the Oilers, solves a need. A big, tough, physical, sized defenseman right in behind Darnell Nurse. Why not, right? A first and a guy like Jesse Puljujarvi, this is something I proposed to Patrick over at the Oilers Fanatic today, is that is kind of fitting the package, is it not? A third and a fourth, maybe more value than Jesse Puljujarvi, but for the Oilers, they have to move salary if they want to bring in salary. I don't care how you view it. The Oilers simply cannot make a move. And when I said Ken Holland has to do something, I don't know how Oilers fans are just also grateful to throw Jesse Puljujärvi on waivers. He'll get claimed in $3 million in cap, and Ken Holland doesn't have to lift a finger. It's not guaranteed, right? So in a trade where you could potentially acquire Gavrikov for a first and the equivalent of Jesse Puljujärvi, right? A third and a fourth is equivalent to the max return you could get for Puljujärvi, and you're lining him up out there with Patrick Laine on the same team. I've already talked in that video about Jesse Puljujärvi's trade destinations potentially to the Columbus Blue Jackets. I mentioned for Sean Corelli, but it was hard to link him to Gavrikov because you didn't know what the trade price was. So now that you do, is similar, and if it's just a third, well, Puljujärvi matches. If it's just a fourth, Puljujärvi matches either which way. And you take the salary, Gavrikov comes in at, I believe, 2.75, and there you go, as it doesn't have to hurt you as bad as it currently does if you are looking to upgrade without moving cap, which is, I believe, physically at this state impossible for the Edmonton Oilers. Friends, I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. Like I said, I'm tied up against the deadlines tonight, and I've run out of time, knowing that I've got about 15 minutes to get this video up, and then the rest of the evening has to get underway. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out, and I will talk to you tomorrow, unless there's somehow breaking news after things that need to get done tonight get done, and I'll maybe potentially talk to you then.